Welcome back to Wisconsin Family. We're here at Vintage Motor Cars, just a little bit off the beaten path here in Sun Prairie. And later on in the program, we're talking cars. Well, maybe now we're going to talk some cars because we're actually joined by Rob Gruther from Lakepoint Realty and Dashlito's Hot Sauce. So if you watch our restaurant show or the real estate news, you might recognize this face. Rob, welcome.
Thanks for having me.
Good to have you back in Wisconsin Family here. So what's going on at Lakepoint? Talk to us about what's new.
Well, excuse me. Even though it's fall, we are still busy, and we've got some new agents, so that's been a good thing. Tyler just joined the team. We have a couple new agents looking forward to probably coming on board in the next month or two.
Okay.
And we're just kind of getting ready for the holidays, and it's still spring or fall time, but it's Christmas party planning time and that sort of thing.
Sure.
Rob, I'm wondering, did you ever do any real estate transactions out here in Sun Prairie? What do you know about the community?
So yeah, this Vintage Motor Cars, it's a cool location. We're out at their showroom, but it's also kind of set in between Madison and Sun Prairie. It's in a really cool rural setting. We had to kind of drive down the way. I think it's kind of off the beaten path a little bit, but I think this is a great area. Love to do any kind of real estate in Sun Prairie. I've helped some people buy condos. I've helped people buy single family homes. This area in particular is just really bustling and booming.
Right. And we've been hearing all summer now about how there's this great inventory shortage when it comes to real estate. But yet we also hear about how quickly the community of Sun Prairie is growing. So does that not apply to Sun Prairie?
I know that there was a shortage throughout all of Dane County. When I was helping someone buy some properties earlier this year, we did run into some shortages. I think just in general, this time of the year and, just kind of the market has kind of, simmered a little bit rather than boil like it was. If that analogy makes sense, I think it should.
Yeah,
simmer versus boil.
Simmer versus boil.
I think it should.
Is it still simmering, or do we have a rolling boil again this fall? Is this a good time to keep looking?
I think it's a great time because there is a little more inventory available. Mm-hmm. So I think that you're not standing in line quite as long as you were for other houses and other properties.
And now for Lakepoint, for those of you out there that don't know, I know this guy pretty well, which is why I brought him to Vintage Motor Cars, because I know he appreciates these kind of cars, and we're excited to talk to everybody about that here. I want to know two things. First of all, what's your favorite car in the showroom? And second of all, do you work for buyers and sellers? Now, pick one, go.
Well, obviously, I would love to help someone buy or sell a car. I think any of these cars would be a great car to get into. I would love to have the opportunity to take them for a test drive.
He doesn't actually work here, but he's a good salesperson, it looks
like.
Well,
I will say this, these are all just spectacular cars. I don't own any real special car. I guess I have some nice cars that I enjoy having, but I really appreciate just the eclectic mix of cars here. I would be really hard-pressed to answer that question as to which car I want. Depends on what day of the week it is and where I'm going.
That's a good answer.
Well, take one out for a day, bring it back, and take another one out the next day.
Do you think they'll let us do that? I hope so.
Yeah.
I did say, hey, how about if you get me maybe doing some donuts? I would use that for a commercial.
That's maybe for later in the show.
I could, any reason I could have to get in any of these cars would be great.
So let's talk a little bit, because you're talking about Lakepoint Realty a lot on the real estate news, but some of the viewers who are watching this program may not be familiar with the real estate news. So let's talk a little bit about Lakepoint Realty and how, as a smaller, locally based real estate agency, how you can really help people get into a new home, maybe differently than some of the other folks could.
We really put customer service first. We try and have fun, so I think that that's something that a lot of people appreciate. The process of buying a house is oftentimes time consuming, so you have to go around, you have to see places, and you have to know what you really want. And I would think you'd want to do that with someone you enjoy spending time with.
Yeah.
It's not you don't want it to be a drag. So
Exactly.
we try and enjoy whatever we're doing.
Yeah.
Same obviously goes with helping people sell houses. You know, we've got to get, you know, into their house and take a look at, you know, where the house is at, what they need to do maybe to get it ready. It's kind of a, you know, real personal thing to come into someone's house.
Yeah.
So you don't want to creep in there.
Yeah. You don't want to creep in there.
Absolutely.
I have a question. I think that this, maybe I could speak for some people out there. There's some, I think, disconnect between seeing a real estate, and we're quickly running out of time, so I bet you can answer this quickly. Seeing a real estate sign out there as you drive by, what do you do if you want to get into that house?
Well, I think it's the first part of buying a house is probably just a good idea to contact someone to act as your agent, act as your buyer's agent, and help them, you know, have them help you kind of figure out what your wants and needs and you know, capabilities are. You want to be able to kind of frame where you want to be, what you really need, and want in a house, and then get a list.
And is that person that, sorry to interrupt, but is that person's name and number on the sign the person as the buyer you want to call?
Generally, that's the listing agent. They're not going to be a committed individual to help you as the buyer. So.
Right.
Wow.
That's the answer I was looking for. Thank you.
Rob Grether from Lakepoint Realty, thanks so much for joining us here today in Wisconsin Family. And don't go away. We'll be right back here at Vintage Motor Cars.